Welcome to the Rust Belt Minis hobby vlog number 4. Today we're in my kitchen. We're going to wash all the mold release residue off of these guys, all the demonically possessed tanks and all the other demons, as well as the bases, because those can have, mold release oils on them too from the manufacturer. At some point I do want to have an area in the workshop set up to do this, but right now we're doing it here in my humble apartment kitchen because you use what you got. It's kind of the cornerstone of the DIY ethos. You just keep going no matter how stupid your project seems, and it either gets less stupid over time or eventually you give up, but we're not giving up today. Come here, little fella, I'll help you across the street. Step 1, soap and water. Soap them up with the sprayer. This one's actually for keeping horses cool, like misting them in the summer, so it works really good. And you power on the giant ultrasound cleaner. I actually thought this was going to be plenty big, but I can only fit 4 of the gifters of sight. Gifters of sight or gifter of sights? I don't know, either way, it's a big decaying demon model, but they just barely fit in here, so if I'm going to make even bigger stuff in the future, I'm going to either have to modify this thing or get something even bigger. Our water's already heated, so I'm going to turn this on for 5 minutes, and there shouldn't be too much of a show because we already used compressed air to blow off the mold release dust that I use. It's just baby powder. I already did that down in the workshop, so there shouldn't be too much coming off of these visually. The microphone actually gets interfered with by this thing, even though it's not very loud in person. Check this out. But yeah, in real life, it's not very loud, so I thought that was kind of cool. All right, then they come out of the ultrasound cleaner where this combination of soap and cavitation and bubble should have cleaned off any oils and powders we don't want on there. And then they go into the simple green, where they kind of look like orcs. That should strip off the soap. And from there, they just get dunked in 3 different buckets of water to do a triple wash. And then they're ready to dry out and package. All right, now we kind of got a groove going here. I should mention that I added scrubbing them with a brush as they're coming out of the green stuff, so I'm not relying just on the cavitation to clean them. I wanted a little bit of mechanical agitation in the process because I'm a little paranoid that using just this thing is too much like witchcraft, and I don't understand witchcraft. Here it is in full swing, assembly line style. And when they're in here, between every step, they get a swirl. And then finally onto the floor in front of a box fan to dry. So as I'm doing this, I'm realizing how I could set this up in the future to do it a lot more efficiently. I could have fish tank bubblers and these things to agitate them without me having to do it. I could have racks set up so everything's drying and I don't have to keep wiping down my floor to keep from saturating it. But at this point, a big DIY project is more about maintaining forward momentum than getting things perfect, so we're just gonna keep muddling through. By the time you've done something the wrong way 100 times, you really know what you need, and then you can kind of implement that going forward, and you appreciate it that much more. A great example of that is down in the workshop. The original sanding rig that I did my whole first Kickstarter on was the palm sander that was shoved inside a bench vise with a ginger ale bottle that helped me connect it up to the shop vac I used as a dust extractor. Halfway through the second Kickstarter, I decided to get the actual machine I needed, although I still used the little guy for a few things. I believe it was Henry Ford that said, if you find yourself needing a machine and don't buy one, you'll eventually have found that you've paid for it and don't have it. But don't worry, no matter how much of a hassle it is, this project is going to remain strictly analog. I'm not going to use 3D printers. I don't knock anyone who does because they do seem like fun. But we're doing it like it was in the 80s and 90s. And we're going to pretend like the future never happened. On the permanent setup, I'm definitely going to want all the workspace up high, like countertop height, and drying racks probably up even higher. Make sure you subscribe if you want to follow along. I think with everyone's help here and support, I can make this into something pretty cool. Well, that took forever. Far from an ideal setup, but they're all done and air drying now. Time to do the bases. Base time. Going in. I know the industry standard is to kind of leave all this busy work up to the customer, but I don't know. I don't feel right about that. I can do it all here in a big batch. It's not a big deal. And then when you get a model, it'll be ready to paint right out of the box. And it doesn't have to go on the pile of shame because of all the boring stuff you don't want to do. You can get right to priming and painting it. Final quality check and packaging happening in the living room, about as DIY as you can get. And there it is, the final product ready to ship so you can have a go at painting them yourself. All right, that's everything packaged and ready to go. Time to get them shipped out to folks that are waiting for them. If you missed the Kickstarter, these will be available again through my website, rustbeltminis.com, at some point in the future.